Hello my friends, I'm Harry and you on the SCIFI film channel. Today I want to talk about how I envision the Marvel Cinematic Universe after Avengers 6, which according to rumors and logic will mark a complete reboot in theaters. I want to emphasize that everything I'm going to say in this video is purely my own thoughts, considering my love for comics and movies. So this is how I'd like to see the refreshed cinematic universe, which, if it follows this path, in my opinion, will be able to rake in heaps of money from our wallets and restore that classic trust in the superhero genre of films. I'll start by saying that I don't want to see a single universe. Surprised? Let me explain. I'd rather see one world, divided into segments to intrigue the audience. I'd keep the overarching world with Tony Stark, Peter Parker, the X-Men, and the Fantastic Four. I'd introduce a supervillain for these heroes, such as Hulk, Dr. Doom, or Armageddon. Yes, you heard me right. I see Hulk as a villain, not a hero. Because if he's a good guy, he loses that danger, through which, according to comics, not only enemies like Abomination or Maestro, but even the Avengers with their shield sometimes want to eliminate him. Furthermore, this universe would have its Bible, or a set of rules and a timeline, which would include the Fantastic Four, mutants, and Inhumans. For example, this series of movies would be very similar to what Marvel offered us in the first 3 phases of the original MCU. However, personally, I'd prefer to see more elements from the defunct Ultimates universe, which is resurfacing now, rather than the classic 616 universe, where Cap could, for instance, take a firearm and kill an immoral and sick scumbag who constantly mocks Wasp, where Carnage kills Gwen Stacy, and Thor jumps between Hela and Valkyrie. And in general, the theme of sex wouldn't be taboo for the heroes of this universe. Most importantly, heroes would die for real, without any fairy tale returns in the future. We'd have cool plot twists, like the death of Peter Parker or someone leaving the Fantastic Four. I'd significantly reduce the number of key heroes. I'd only greenlight solo films for the most famous of these characters, like Stark, Parker, or Wolverine. Meaning, films with an audience who won't watch any Ant-Man Eternal or a bunch of unnecessary series. Marvel should be a show that people anticipate. I'd completely abandon any Disney official series in the Marvel Universe. Other characters I'd leave somewhere in the background or in tertiary roles. Here I'd add various Miss Marvels, for example. She'd be Hulk, and Black Widow be the main target of the global threat segment in the Marvel Universe. The logical consistency and integrity of each of these films' narratives, and the overall use of a bunch of characters across different pillar films, would be particularly emphasized. I'd especially highlight the X-Men, Spider-Man, and Iron Man, the secondary roles for Black Panther, the Fantastic Four, and Deadpool. Just imagine what we'd have. They'd be shown in Civil War, Avengers 3, and every major film of this studio. And the main life hack is that nothing would need to be explained to the audience, because they would already know perfectly well who Peter Parker is, or why he's from the past and now in our time. The second universe would be the Marvel Midnight Suns, which would closely resemble the Knights of Marvel Arc and the 2022 game Marvel Midnight Suns. In this corner of Marvel, characters like Blade, Ghost Rider, Doctor Strange, Moon Knight, Punisher, She-Hulk, and Man-Thing would be present. I'd choose enemies like Dormammu, Mephisto, Deacon Frost, Nightmare, and Dracula. It would be a category of R-rated films, and no other way, delving into the realm of magic, monsters from other dimensions, and themes not addressed in the modern MCU. Namely, what the Marvel Universe looks like at night, where there are plenty of vampires, deviants, and magical artifacts. Furthermore, I wouldn't make the heroes here strictly heroes, but rather lean towards anti-heroes, where they might kill someone to eliminate a larger and more imminent threat. Or their actions might look bad on the pages of a Daily Bugle, but they would still do it because it's the right thing to do. If we don't turn this segment into a kindergarten, then we'll indeed get a bunch of films that won't gross billions, because it's nearly impossible for adult-oriented films, unless you're Oppenheimer or Joker. But these movies will have a consistent adult audience in theaters who won't tire of new gum, won't grow out of it, and will eagerly watch films similar to the first and second Blade, I can guarantee you that. The third segment of the new cinematic universe would be presented as grand cosmic adventures, featuring Captain Marvel, the Guardians of the Galaxy, Silver Surfer, and the Inhumans, for example. The main adversaries here would include Gladiator, Galactus, the Skrulls, the Kree, and so on. Space is something that Marvel hasn't fully explored yet, only giving glimpses in Captain Marvel and Guardians of the Galaxy. But believe me, there are much more intriguing stories here than what was shown in the series She-Hulk or Secret Invasion, with a budget of over $200 million. This is to say that $200 million would be enough to showcase this on the big screen. Here, I would approach it not with a pew-pew-pew style like Captain Marvel, but more akin to Game of Thrones, or Denis Villeneuve's Dune, where everyone plays their own game, their own narrative. And there would be plenty of betrayals of alliances and unexpected twists. At the same time, the general rules for all films and all the mentioned segments would be minimal focus on solo acts altogether. No emphasis on third-tier characters. Always high stakes. Meaning, there's no need to show some bully, a target, killing someone in the city. We should showcase a timekeeper who can destroy the entire planet through his insects in the head. This was beautifully demonstrated in Siege or Dark Reign. We don't need to focus on, for instance, Peter Parker fighting Shocker. We should show the Sinister Six or the Prodigal's arc. I'm not even talking about a normal Carnage, where Parker could be killed off in the first film, and his place could be taken by Silk, Miles Morales, or Ghost Spider. All of this needs to be constantly combined, tweaking the general formula slightly to surprise the audience. This is the most important goal. There's no need to produce 40 films that are structurally similar, with only 3 of them being different from the rest. This is what I'm talking about regarding the modern MCU. We need more unique content, even if it takes more money and time to create. So if 3 films are released per year, for example, or 1 from each segment, Marvel can create interesting stories over the course of 5 to 8 years. Then, they could launch a truly global arc, not like what was done in the MCU. And to show the emergence of Galactus, or the real Secret Wars, or the Civil War if any character needs to be developed. It can always be done briefly in a 20-minute special on Disney, for example. This is how Origins, New Gambits, or Blade could be revealed without spending a lot of time and separate films on these heroes. Speaking of Blade, the problem is evident now, when this film simply cannot be created. However, if there weren't plans to show him in a solo film, he would have already interacted with all the MCU characters. Moreover, there's no need to mimic the comics or reveal the origins of 20 or 40 heroes. No, 5 or 6 main characters that the audience already knows will be enough. For example, we all know the story of Logan becoming Wolverine, or how the spider bit Parker, or how Iron Man invented his suit. Showing these origins again would just disappoint the audience. It's better to insert this information into dialogues through specific situations, rather than showing it from a different angle. For example, the heroes stumble upon a secret laboratory, and Logan says it reminds him of where he was given those claws. And Captain America might watch Red Skull's daughter on TV and mention that he already took down one of her family members in Germany in the 40s. There's a lot of smart fan service, which was present in Marvel's first phase of the MCU, as a very pleasant example. By the way, I can't help but mention the latest Spider-Man animated film, specifically Into the Spider-Verse, where the creators perfectly showed what canon is. And we didn't need to watch poor Uncle Ben getting killed again. And so, of course, everything I've said is my own fantasy. But it all looks like a plan that would be interesting to both viewers and movie companies alike. Frankly speaking, continuing the overloaded MCU as it is cannot and should not be done. It's ironic that Marvel has already gone through all of this in the comics, literally destroying everything in Secret Wars, and that's one of the best comics and global arcs Marvel has ever had in its history. We must remember that everything has an end, as well as, by the way, a new beginning. Marvel and Disney need to understand that it is necessary to destroy the entire MCU today in order to create a beautiful new cinematic universe on its remains, which will be the favorite of a new cohort of viewers. On this optimistic note, I want to say goodbye to you, and may the Force be with you. Bye-bye.